Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks everyone for joining us. We have Coach John Covich here. And Coach, why don't you start off the Zoom call by just kind of giving an update on preseason practices before heading into the first competition this weekend in Minnesota. You're on mute, Coach.
How about now?
Good deal.
All right. So anyhow, we've been practicing since first day of school, which was August the 17th, and the guys have really been working hard. And really, I think it goes back to last season ending on a disappointing kind of stretch, the last few tournaments, and that was really motivating for me as a coach to really look at how we can do things better. Really how I can structure things better, and spent the whole off season, me and Coach Bounds, our assistant coach, just trying to figure out, what we can do better. And we hit the ground running. We implemented a lot of new things as far as practice, qualifying, workouts, our stats, really a huge overhaul of how we do everything. So we threw a lot at the old guys, a lot of changes. Of course, the new guys, this is, they thought that was normal, but so yeah, a lot of practice since August 17th, and I think the guys are prepared, put in a lot of good work. We had some competitive qualifying, although qualifying didn't really define our preparation. It was only 6 days, the last 3 weeks that we qualified. Normally we do, at least 9 days. So a little more quality over quantity as far as when it comes to qualifying. And I'm excited to see what these guys do. And, I think it's all about our routine, our preparation, what we do. We can't really control the results, just control our preparation. So I'm excited to see if the guys stick with that mindset at Minnesota.
Okay, to ask a question for Coach, please use the raise hand feature. We'll go first to Joe Mercado.
Sean, is your lineup set for Minnesota, and is this a tournament you get to bring extra individuals to compete in?
Yes and yes. So the lineup based 100% on qualifying. So I didn't do any picks. I just let the guys earn their spots 1 through 5. Trent Tipton had a very outstanding performance. I think he was like 20 under for 9 rounds, 20 under for 9 rounds, and set the course record at Bedford. We did a qualifier up at Omni Bedford. I shot 60, which was a course record there. So he'll be in the number 1 spot. And then West Virginia native Todd Duncan got the 2 spot. He won the qualifier at Pete Dye last weekend. Freshman Caleb Wilson had an outstanding performance as well. He shot, I think, 8 under for 9 rounds. He'll be in the 3 spot. Then Max Green, who's a sophomore, he won a tournament in college last year as an individual, the East Carolina tournament. He'll be in the 4 spot. And then a guy that's been in the lineup a lot, junior Jackson Davenport, will be in the 5 spot. And as you mentioned, the tournament across the street is called the Minnesota Golf Classic. We can play a lot of individuals there. So we're going to take Curtis Grant, Will Stakel, Wesley McCabe, who's a freshman, and then Ollie Menard. Those will be our 4 individuals. They'll get some great experience. Teams that play the Gopher Invitational bring extra players. So they'll be competing against, kids from Notre Dame and Baylor, Georgia Southern, teams like that across the street. So regardless of how you did in qualifying, you definitely get some experience this week, which is a big reason why we play in this event.
Let's go to Bryce O'Leary.
Hi, Coach. Given that it's the first event of the season, what are you looking for? What are you looking for most from your team?
Just the way we go about our routine and our preparation and handling whatever comes our way. We're really not going up there with expectations as far as results, because we know, obviously in golf, you can't play defense. So I can't control what Notre Dame shoots or what Baylor shoots or what Minnesota shoots. I can only control how we prepare and how we game plan, and then hopefully how we handle ourselves in the competition. that's really what I'm looking for. And hopefully we're building that work ethic, that routine, that mindset, and focusing in on things in our control. And then when we start to kind of lose our cool, maybe being aware of that early and trying to make sure it doesn't carry over for a few holes, maybe only one shot. So those are the kind of things I'm looking for. It's really about, just our guys sticking with their routine, sticking with their process. And as long as we do that, then I'll definitely be happy, and we'll come back and whatever the next tournament is, try to get ready for that one.
Back to Joe.
Sean, for the top two guys in your lineup, what's led to the improvement in Trent's game that he's experienced recently? And for Todd, what were your thoughts on how he did last year as a freshman and where he needs to make improvements in year two?
Well, I'll talk about Trent first. He's a junior as far as athletically, but a senior academically. So his story is crazy, really. I mean, I can show you some of the scores he was shooting just a couple of years ago in qualifying. Every year preseason, we kind of do a qualifier A, qualifier B, qualifier C. And I think this year, he's like 20 under for the first couple qualifiers. And a couple of years ago, he shot 54 over and was dead last. And was shooting like upper 80s, 90s, like just lost, not struggling. Like, 78, 77 is kind of struggling, but he was completely just lost. And any kid, I think, well, I don't know if they would have come back from that, but he really just put in the work, slowly got better, started to gain some confidence, turned a corner, I think, in 2021. So really what led to his improvement, whatever he's got inside of him, you call it grit, determination, belief, just wanting to work hard. That's really what helped him. And then Todd, came in, not a lot of experience playing outside of West Virginia, had never flown on an airplane before until last year when we took him on the first trip as an individual. And honestly, he did not have a good fall at all last year. He just was sort of not mature as a player and not really understanding what it takes to compete. But he learned from those older guys, from Mark Getz, from Logan Perkins, and you just kind of figure it out after a year of getting beat up in qualifying, get beat up in tournaments. Like, you figure out where you're throwing away shots mentally, how you need to perform. And so it's just a big jump, from high school golf in West Virginia to playing in the Big 12. It's a big jump. So I think he kind of absorbed everything and then came back with a different mindset, a little more mature. Obviously, he's hitting the ball better. But just learning you don't need to fire at every single flag and try to make birdie every hole. That is not how you play college golf. And so I think he's starting to figure that out. And heck, he won his first qualifier ever. So hopefully gaining some confidence.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Sean, schedule-wise, are you one tournament fewer in the fall than you usually are? And what led to the decision to move the Pete Dye tournament to a spring event?
Well, it happened a couple of years ago. We had to move the tournament because of COVID. We moved it into April, and we ended up with, that time of year, we ended up with a lot more daylight. We ended up with being able to play to close to 8:30, whereas in the fall, you need to be done by 6:45 at the latest. So that was one reason. Also, the weather here, August, September, October, even in November is amazing. And so I thought, why would we want to be gone most of the fall when the weather is awesome here? And we can really get a lot of practice in, kind of create our culture, our routine. And then, you might as well be gone in January, February. So we moved our home tournament from October to April. Really, because October is super busy because we had our home tournament, then we got on a plane, went straight to Big 12 match play, which is, 5 matches in 3 days, and then went straight on the plane to Iowa to co-host. So it was such a busy October. So we kind of want to relieve some pressure there. And then we added a tournament in January, we had our tournament in April. So it's a little more spread out. And I thought last year we played a little too much, too quickly in in the spring, so I wanted to spread it out, and so it's got a really good flow to it. And but the main reason is really to kind of enjoy the fall season here, get the guys ready, and kind of create our culture and structure going into the spring.
Bryce?
Coach, what is the leadership like been on this year's team? Is there a guy in particular that stepped up or a group of guys?
Well, I think it's been the whole team, just kind of their mindset. Obviously, you've got the older guys like Curtis and Trent that have been here a while, and then you've got Jackson, Ollie, and Will that are in their third year. But really, I think it's just collectively as a team, just doing the things that we've asked them to do. Again, we threw a lot of new stuff at them. This feels like a brand new program to me. Last year was a disappointment. Just the way we finished. We did a lot of good things last year. We had a lot of talent, but I just didn't do a good job of holding the guys accountable, creating structure. Because sometimes when you have a really talented team, you just kind of let it play out because they're going to perform. And that was the reason probably we didn't play as well towards the end. And so I spent the whole off season kind of reevaluating how we do things, what we can do better. So we threw a lot at these guys, and the older guys too were probably like, "Wow, this is completely different." So I think everybody's on a level playing field in a sense of we're doing everything brand new, and so they're excited about that. So as far as the leadership, yes, you have experience, you have guys who've been around a while, but really everybody's embracing kind of this new structure, and it feels like a fresh year. So. As the year goes on, obviously leaders will emerge, but it's really been kind of a team effort in absorbing all this new stuff and coming to practice fresh every day.
Okay, we'll wrap it up with Joe.
So I'm sure you got good expectations for both your freshmen, but specifically with McCabe, what is it about his game that particularly stood out when you were recruiting him?
Yeah, when you watch him, I mean, he's just solid. He doesn't, it's not like he bombs the ball. I think when you watch, like say Mark Getz, for example, I mean, it's pretty evident his ball speed, club head speed was tour level. When you watch Caleb, it's pretty good as far as, I mean, he hits it far enough, but man, he just keeps the ball in play and he's got a great short game. And I feel like he almost makes every single putt that he looks at. And so, I didn't have a pick. I just let qualifying kind of play out. But as I was watching him play and qualifying, I thought it's going to be hard to keep him out of lineup just because he keeps the ball in play. He's such a great putter. He usually doesn't beat himself. And so I just think he kind of reminds me of maybe a Kevin Kisner who plays on tours, like not super long, but hits the ball in play, is just a great wedge player and a great putter. That's the same thing with Caleb. So, but again, coming from Tennessee, not a whole lot of experience on this type of grass and this type of, climate. And now we're going to Minnesota. So we'll see how he does on that stuff. But yeah, he's off to a great start, performed well qualifying, and hopefully he keeps hitting it solid and chipping it, putting it well.
Coach, thanks for your time today and best of luck this weekend and the season. Thanks to everyone for dialing in.
All right. Thank you. Let's go Mountaineers.